Largest faith and family television network in the world returns to Africa. TBN in Africa, your premier quality Christian channel, returns bigger, stronger, and better than ever before. Join your TBN family on DSTV channel 343 and experience pure faith and family television like never before. To find out more, go to tbninafrica.org. TBN in Africa on DSTV channel 343.
If you're still tuned to Radio Pulpit, your daily companion, thank you for staying tuned all the way from Gauteng to the Cape. We are simulcasting through the entire country this evening, and this is so awesome. If you are joining us right now, you can either listen to us on radio, on DSTV, on our streaming platforms, or go to Facebook right now, and you'll see this beautiful young man next to me, and I'm so excited just to say hello to him. This is absolutely God in action. We didn't plan this. This is the most spontaneous thing that happened to me, not just today, but in a while. But next to me is a guest. I'm going to say hello to him just now. Please just remember, you can now go to all of our social media platforms and you can go join the chat. We are live on Facebook right now. We are live on YouTube right now, and you can go join the chat. Send us a WhatsApp. The WhatsApp lines are open, 0826572729. Colony, Telegram, all of that is open in front of me, and you can join us right now. If you know me and you know the shows that I do on Radio Pulpit, you'll know that probably some of my most played songs on Radio Pulpit are the songs of the awesome group called Celebrate Africa, and I am so blessed this evening. Guys, if you go check me out on Facebook, you'll see, I think my smile is hooked around my ears. This is so cool. And he's now taking a photo of me. Anyway, Tommy, my brother, how are you, dude?
I'm doing well. Dan's just asking where he can listen. I just told him.
Why don't you tell Dan that we'll send him the link if he likes, and he can actually join us if he likes. Huh?
Yeah, let's do it.
Wouldn't that be so cool? All right, so let's get that going. While we do that, next to me, yes, you see, correct. This is Tommy from Celebrate Africa. Welcome to South Africa, buddy.
Man, it's so good to be here. Dwayne, this guy's bigger in person. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen him in person, but really carry a lot of presence, man. So good to see you.
Dude, this is like next level. So you came with coffee, and you blessed me with some coffee.
Yeah, and your son made us coffee. So
that's
I mean,
so
it's
cool.
a whole full circle of love here.
But I've got something else for you.
What? What is this?
I promise you I'm going to have it.
Yeah, it's a surprise box today. Is this Drive Horse? Yeah, I see now. Bro, this is my love language right here. Dude, look how much you're doing here. Did you make this stuff?
You've got kudu. That's all our game that we shot. It's kudu. You've got rooibok. You've got blauwillebeers. All of this. And the rooibok was shot by my boy himself. I promised you'll have it ready.
You did, bro.
There you go.
Man. No, this is awesome, bro. So say that again. This is
kudu, rooibok, Impala.
And how do I know the difference?
Well, I can tell you the difference, but you wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah, well, we just got to sort that out before I go so I can understand.
What I do think before we go in there, just for the sake of people watching, you got to have a taste because I want to see if you can tolerate that.
No, I can tolerate it.
Okay, so that is cherry. You're having cherry kudu. Let's see.
You mean cherry kudu?
It's like in cherry into the druive of the kudu. Check the red in it.
It's beautiful, man.
It's good, huh?
It's absolutely. It's like chutney.
That's like chutney.
Yeah.
Well, you are stocked.
Well,
you are so stocked.
I'm going to be eating the whole time.
You can eat as long as you say hello now and then. We're going to actually pop.
Hey, everyone.
We're going to pop this link through all the way there to the States. Dan is still there, isn't it?
No, he's still there. He just. Oh no, he's actually about to grab lunch.
So you can't join us.
Well, let's send the link and he'll join at lunch.
All right. Well, let's see. Anyway, Tommy's in studio with me for the next hour up until 8 o'clock, and we're going to listen to some awesome songs. And all of them will probably be by a group called Celebrate Africa, Makanaka, Hallelujah, Home. We've got all of them lined up for you. It's on the log in front of me. If you want to ask Tommy any questions, please come on, do so. Go right to Facebook and send us those questions, or go to WhatsApp. We are ready for you. We wanna get this going. How's things going in your life?
No, it's going very good, man. I mean, just good to be here with you. Good to be with everyone on air, and those of you joining, super pumped that you're here, and just excited to spend the night with Dwayne, or spend the evening with Dwayne. That sounds better. But things are going well, Dwayne. Very good, man. Now that you've given me these Boerewors and Dryvors, things are turning out to be, it's going to be a good week.
Celebrate Africa. What's happening with the group? With what are you guys busy with? Why are you here?
Yeah, so man, so last week, I think I sent you a clip. We were in Ghana, and
What a clip!
And with my other brother John. So you haven't met him yet, but I mean, guys, it was really cool. There was I think thousands of young people, and it was about 2 a.m. We'd been worshiping for maybe about from midnight onwards, and they had to shut the room down that we were in. And there's people jumping up all over the place, and it's just like revivals breaking out. And they had to shut it down and send everyone out. Anyway, when they send people out into the streets, they continued to worship. So it literally looks like a protest, but it's not a protest. It's a worship test.
Love it.
And so anyway, it's been awesome. We've been in Ghana, and then we're working on 4 new tracks and a bonus track. So pretty much 5 together. I was with Dan up in Alabama. I don't know why we were in Alabama, but we were in Alabama, and we've been working on 5 new tracks. So we're really excited about what God's doing. Great collaborations, and yeah, we don't want to stop.
Well, I can tell you this: Makanaka hit my school by storm. I think it was a theme song of our school for more than a year, and up until today, that remains the go-to song. If we just want to break free in the spirit, we've got something at school called a freak out session. Mm-hmm. So kids can be actively involved in their classes until the music starts playing out loud in the auditorium. Then they can jump up and they can run to the auditorium. It is my way of just releasing the tension, the academic tension. Makanaka is my go-to song.
And that helps release tension.
You don't understand.
That's great.
Like your next level.
Oh.
Well, check on your phone there. I'll send you the link. Maybe you can forward that link to your brother. It'll be so awesome if they can actually join us on Facebook or wherever. If you can actually just follow that link, I'll pop him in right here.
Perfect.
All right. So anyway, what brings you back to the continent of Africa?
Yeah. So good. So a few things. We're actually having had my first meeting with a potential new publisher today, which is really cool. So just exploring, like, how else do we do this? How else do we empower a lot of young writers and musicians? And so we're talking with people in Bulawayo, we're talking with people in Ghana. And because I think there's something about Africa right now where the collaboration, the sound of collaboration it's like a wave that's here. And so we're excited about that. We're focusing on collaboration. And then obviously coming home to Africa is always, it pulls at heartstrings. So it's always good to be here.
Coming home.
That's what it is. So doing that. And then we're going to be up in Zambia for a little bit. We're helping with a little forum conference up there. And then we'll be back here in September for 2 months. And so we'll definitely come by and hang out.
Please do
some stuff. So yeah, but God's moving on the continent of Africa, and it's not about, is revival going to come? It's here. And I think that's what's exciting about all the stuff that we're doing here.
What I actually want to touch on is, Tommy, you said something very profound now, because this is the second person in 3 weeks that comes from the States, that look at South Africa, that look at the continent of Africa, and you see a different spiritual angle than us that is, I don't want to say stuck in the country, but we take our ways so for granted. We take our way of church so for granted. There's something in the spirit that pulls you back. What is it that you guys are referring to when you say there's something happening in Africa?
I mean, I can say it in a few ways, but I would say the one thing is that people's hearts are being stirred. No matter where you are, when you talk about the power and the love of Jesus, there's an openness and there's a hunger. And hunger can't be manufactured. So you can't go to your son and say, you must be hungry. Like you can't say, today I'm going to do 10 things to be hungry. You're either hungry or you're not. And I think there's a hunger in Africa, in different tribes, in different countries and continents, our continent, that's saying we're hungry for more. And it doesn't have to look a certain way. We just want more of God. We want to see his kingdom come. And so whether you're speaking to, like I spoke to a waitress today, she was serving me coffee and I said, hey, can I pray for you? And I told her about her son, and she just exploded. She was like, yes, 100%. And I think there's a hunger that is organic and it's innate to Africa. And it's not something that's forced upon us. There's just a hunger. And I think where there's hunger, God meets us with his glory. So I can say that's kind of one way of putting it.
All right, so then of course also right on the internet, we've got a guest all the way there from America. Would you like to introduce our guest?
Okay, we have my brother who is single, Dan.
How's it, guys? How's it? I am single. I'm here. I'm involved. How are we doing?
It's the second time you introduce him like that, right?
No, I know. Hey,
my single brother.
Listen, we're on many missions, right? We have the mission of the Great Commission, and then we have the mission of getting my brothers married.
It's a worthy mission. It's a worthy mission. So just keep your eyes out, keep your hearts out, you know.
Hey, Dan, this guy, do you see all the boerewors he gave you?
No, I didn't see that. He's giving you boerewors.
This is what I arrived to on set.
Oh, man. Listen, now you're making me hurt over here in the States. I haven't had boerewors in my mouth for some time now.
Well, I'll have to send you guys some then, huh?
Come on,
Jackson back.
Why aren't you? Yeah. Why is the two of us? Yeah, and you not?
I didn't get the memo. Hey, listen, I didn't get the WhatsApp from the group chat.
Well, we've been planning this for about 30 minutes, so.
This was so spontaneous. We didn't plan this at all. But it's the second time around that I see the back of your car, though.
No, listen, it's become a tradition, Dwayne. Every year we must at least do one car interview.
You know, the previous interview was also in this car.
It was a mess.
Funny.
It's a mess. Well, guys, listen, I just wanted to say hi. I've actually got to run, but I just wanted to pop in and say hi. And I wish I was with you guys, but I will be in Africa soon. And next one, let's just lock it in here. Next one, I'm with you, lads.
All roads lead to Africa.
Not just in studio though. We've got to braai. We've got to braai proper meat.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm saying no more. As long as we have some tong to start us off, I'm good.
Some what? Some tong? Biltong.
Some biltong.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that will have. I thought you said tong, like in tongue. You on your own there,
No. Well, sweet
right,
guy. Good to see you guys, and thanks for letting me jump on for a bit. And I can't wait to hear what the rest happens.
We got to get some samples over to you later, but anyway.
We'll get some samples to Dwayne.
Yeah.
Lots is coming.
Please
Lots
do.
is coming.
Perfect.
Right.
And I'll air it on radio. I promise you that. Blessings, buddy. Chat later.
Hey, bless you guys. Yes.
Anyway, do you guys get along very well?
Oh man, we have a great relationship.
And you've got a third brother.
We have 4.
Oh my.
So there's 4 of us. So
But I only know 2.
You only know 2. I don't know which ones you know, but you know 2. But yeah, so all of us are connected. We're actually pretty good friends. There's Dan. Yeah, those are all guys that we work with on different occasions. But yeah, I'm still the only one that's married, so
Still the only one.
that's why we're on a mission. There's a double mission here.
Well, get them back to South Africa. I've got a few godly girls lined up on this side. Just get down here.
Yeah, that's okay. So that'll be the braai, right?
That'll be
So
the
we
braai.
have the interview and the braai, and then,
I think that'll be cool.
yeah, no, but we've always been close. We grew up in ministry. We grew up in Zimbabwe together, and yeah, it's a pretty special thing to be close with your brothers.
All right, so I think what we should do is I'm going to try something for the first time. I haven't got a clue if Facebook's going to kick us off, though. But I reckon I've got the artist with me. So let's see what Facebook does. I want to try and play a music video
Let's try it.
on Facebook.
Let's do it.
If Facebook kicks us off, Facebook, I've got the artist here with me. So come on, give us a bit of a break.
So I condone this.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to play a song called Makanaka, and we're going to get back to Makanaka right after the song. I'd like to hear from him, exactly where Makanaka came from. And yeah, please don't go anywhere. This is Makanaka, Facebook style. Let's see if it's going to work. This is going to be so awesome if it does.
Abantwana bakulezi insuku alisela mbeko manje. Ha? Hayi mina ngizokushaya mina. Akindaba so.
Somewhere you found me, your kingdom wouldn't leave me the same. And I still remember everything you've done since then. 'Cause you are the king, your reign is forever. You give us your peace, it feels like we're home. It's not from the world, but here in our hearts, we're never getting over this. Makanaka, Mari Makanaka, Makanaka, Shejes, Shejes. Makanaka, Mari Makanaka, Makanaka, Shejes, Shejes. do. I really love you, 'cause you know me like no one else does. You know me like no one else does.
So that was never done before on Facebook here on Radio Pulpit, but so awesome to do it with you guys. I'm just excited about whenever I spend time with you guys. You are what inspires you, dude?
What inspires us, man? I'd say probably the same thing that inspires you. You know, I think when I think about the potential and how God sees, and I'll always come back to Africa. When I think about how God sees our country and our nations and this generation, and you get these musical pictures, but then you see kind of how these young lives and these young destinies can literally shape the world. I think that gets me up every morning. And why not? What else can you do that's better than to inspire them? So when I see your kid out there serving us coffee and hanging out, I'm like, what's on his life? How do we see everything that God has for him explode to life, so that he can also be a change agent? So I don't know. I think the next generation really inspires me.
You are from the US. Well, you live in the US now. And a lot of times we hear as South Africans that the US is woke. Please give us a bit of an explanation on how woke is the US right now.
I don't know if I'm the one to explain wokeness in the US. I don't know, Dwayne. What? Let me ask you this: what do you actually hear about the wokeness, and then I can kind of add to it.
Well, we just hear that the world's going rogue. We just hear that the gospel is being turned to suit people's lifestyles. The scriptures that reprimand people are those that's being ignored. We hear big church organizations, without mentioning any names on a national radio station, that have now just adopted different marriage policies. And these things are not common in South Africa as yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think when you look at when the church starts to try and suit the preference of man instead of the principles of God, then you start changing things to meet, the passions of people. And I think it's easy to do that because how many times, I mean, let's just bring it right home, right? How many times do we as people go, hey, people are going to really like this. Let's do this. People are really going to get affected by this and appreciate this. Let's do this kind of approach. I mean, it's so easy to get into a seeker sense of generation. But I think, when we keep coming back to, that's why I love what you always talk about, which is spending time in God's presence, right? How do we get back into God's presence? Because when you do that, I think our appetite changes. The things that we desire change. Because when you sit in the presence of God and you say, Father, show me who you are. Show me how you see this situation. Show me how you see this person. Show you how you see the school. All of a sudden, the desires that we did have, guess what? They get shaped into God's heart for the situation as opposed to our feelings. And so no matter whether you do that on a national scale, if you do that on a church level scale, or if you do that on an individual scale, I think we're all prone to say, hey, my feelings are so much more important than God's perspective. And once you start doing that, then, there's no end to your feeling, right? Well, I feel like this today. I feel like this tomorrow. So, yeah. That's why I've been telling people is keep coming back to spending time in Jesus' presence. At the conference in Ghana, there was a girl that came up to me and said, hey, if you had one piece of advice, just one, what would you say if I want to keep my fire alive? And I said, make sure that every day you're spending time as his presence and you're just saying, Jesus, speak to me. That's it. You're not trying to warfare. You're not trying to like cast out demons. You're not trying to like fire. You're just like, Jesus, show me your perspective. Show me your heart. And I think without that, it's so easy just to get your feelings in front of his desire.
So I've noted that when you guys spend time in Africa, you tend to spend time amongst the vulnerable, amongst the, I don't want to say poverty. I don't know if that's the right word, but you tend to spend time with the needy. Is there a calling in your heart to be there for those in need? What? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll come back to the way that we were raised. So we were raised in church, but we didn't really have a separation from society standards or society spectrums. There was no class in our mind because, our family was there to serve people, no matter what creed, race, background, color, or affiliation. So it didn't matter if someone had, our family brought everyone in like it was home. They made everyone, we served people as though they were part of our family. And so I don't think it's about just going after the poor or the needy or just going after the higher echelon people in terms of society. I think it's more about just, hey, who's around us? Who's around us and who do we get the opportunity to serve? So I'd say that's more about it than specifically we feel called to, people who are less fortunate. It's just more like who's around us and how do we serve them?
Let's get back to Makanaka that just played. Makanaka.
Yeah. I think I've said this before, but Zim, right? Anyone watching online knows about the northern cousins in South Africa. And, I remember we were going through a really tough time in the country. And I think about 10 of my friends had lost their jobs. Few of my friends had lost their fortunes. So everything they'd saved overnight. We had 90% unemployment at the time. I still think we have, pretty bad unemployment. And every conversation we went into, Dwayne, every conversation at a coffee shop, in a taxi cab, it was, man, things are really, really tough. Things are hard. And you could almost feel like the oppression like a blanket. It was like you felt like there was this like blanket over the whole country. It was like, man, this just feels low. And I said to Dan, man, we got to write a song that ushers in the supernatural joy of God. Because if his joy is truly our strength, then we're not seeing enough strength around because there's not a lot of joy, right? I mean, you know how strong you are by how much joy you have.
Sure, that's powerful.
And so unless you're intently doing that, I mean, the atmosphere is going to crash on you. I mean, think of all the mental illness and the depression that's like taking our youth by storm. I think it's because of a lack of joy, not because of a presence of depression. And so I'm saying, okay, Dan, how do we usher in to where everyone presses play, or when they hear the song on the radio, it's like immediately they're like, you know what? I got my strength back. I got my joy. I don't care the fact that I've experienced the worst economic collapse in the world, the fact that I feel like I've lost everything, the fact that I can barely get out of bed in the morning. When I hear that song, God does something, and that something is bringing me back to joy. So I think that was it. We sat down and said, there's too much. We feel the weight of this. How do we give that joy back that God so wants us to have? And that was the start of Makanaka.
So it's ironic. You just mentioned something about help me if I'm wrong, just the words was the absence of joy is not the presence of depression.
No. So I think that the challenge that we have is not the fact that we have the presence of depression, but it's the absence of joy.
I understand.
Yeah.
So it's very much like I've got this thing that says that darkness has got no existing right on its own. It's merely the absence of light.
Absence of light. Exactly. Same exact parallel.
I was a very well-known South African artist and writer, Suki Kroch. I was in her presence last week, and she said something very profound. She said, if you go to the schools where they preach rules, you may this and you may not, they struggle to keep discipline in those schools. If you go to the schools where you introduce people to a relationship with Jesus Christ, it's ironic because at those schools, they don't preach rules, but they introduce the kids to Jesus. And where Jesus is, there's discipline. there's godliness,
Interesting.
and there's
Yeah,
order.
That's good. Yeah.
And it's a different dynamic. Instead of using all of our energy and our breath on trying to teach these rules, use that same energy and breath and teach them Jesus.
That's really good.
Because if Jesus is there, discipline, order, respect will automatically become who you are.
That's really good. Well, think of that. What you said is if you focus on discipline, then you're focused on the outcome, not the connection. And whenever you focus
That's
more on the
powerful.
outcome than the connection, then you can create religion, even with the right outcomes. So if my son obeys me because he's afraid of me, the outcomes might be okay. But man, we've lost a lot.
How much people choose Jesus because they're afraid of hell,
There we go.
not
Yeah.
because they love Jesus?
Correct. And we've done that in church, though. Let's just be honest, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But and it's not to bash what we've done. I think
Not at
it's
all.
more about what is going on now, and the move that you talked about, right? The move, why you set up the school, why you did this for your daughter, why you are so passionate about seeing God's presence move across every city in South Africa. The reason is because we know that there's we know that He's doing something new. So it's not about bashing the past. It's
Not at
about,
all.
okay, so God, what are you doing right now? And let's jump into that wave, because it's powerful, man.
All right. I'll quickly just want to acknowledge a few people that's joining us this evening on social media. Tammy Ritchie saying hello. Rina Jacobs, hello Rina. Jessica Clue says hello guys. Carl Verhoef, this is the CEO of Radio Pulpit. He is saying good evening, gents. Enjoy your chat. Very interesting. LZ Donaldson, she says, is he really single? Yay.
I can confirm that.
LZ. Jessica Clue says loving this. Daphne says this is so wow. Then Daphne also says that Tommy, you are explaining the character of Jesus, and she says the joy of the Lord is our strength. Audrey Kortsen says joy, joy, joy in my heart because Jesus makes everything right. And then of course we've got a very special listener this evening. His name is Chris van Rensburg. It's my father.
Oh, very good.
He is
Hey,
also
Chris.
he's from Zimbabwe.
Oh, so you're from Zimbabwe,
No, my dad is.
but kind of.
Yeah, I am. So we're brothers.
That's awesome.
We're actually brothers. Okay, so anyway, let's quickly jump into Home. The song Home, once again, where was that shot?
Home was shot in Zimbabwe.
Home.
Yeah. Right at home. Yeah.
Wasn't that done during COVID?
It was done during COVID.
And tell us the story.
So again, most of the stuff we write has some sort of unction of not just, hey, let's do something fun, but what is God doing? So we really felt like during COVID, there was a lot of people we heard, and even ourselves, we were trying to get back home. We couldn't get back home. And God really spoke to us and basically said, home is the journey and it's not a destination. And so many people were on this journey trying to get home, but it was like, no, actually you're home. You're home in His presence. And so how about we write a song where we help people feel like they belong, even when they're not, in their physical home, because the kingdom of God is about belonging. When you feel His presence and you are in a community of believers, like there's no belonging like that. You can't find that anywhere else. And so we're like, how do we write a song that carries home in it so that no matter where someone is, they feel like they're at home? So that's why we wrote Home.
So Radio Pulpit is home to the song Home.
Hey, that's a little cheesy, but
we
that works.
were the first one to release the song
You
in
were
South
the first
Africa.
one. Yeah,
And then since then we've distributed that to probably 6 other radio stations, but we kept the rights to ourselves first.
That's good.
So it was on my show. So if you are on Facebook right now or on YouTube, please go visit these channels. And we're going to play Home. Once again, we're going to try and do this live from the platform that we're using right now. And then when we get back, we're going to continue the chat. So awesome to have my brother in the studio with me. This is Celebrate Africa with a song entitled Home. Here we go.
You caught me by surprise. It's like I'm dreaming, walking in the light. It's got me singing, now this is forever. You're never changing now. You're never changing. You're strong in all my weakness. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You take my broken pieces. Oh na na na. And even when I don't see it, I trust in what you're doing. I trust in what you're doing. many times, but I get up again. Your name holds me together and it will till the end. Your never-ending love reminds me of your heart, the father that you are and that you're never too far, Lord. You're strong in all my weakness. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You take my broken pieces. Oh na na na. And even when I don't see it, I trust in what you're doing. I trust in what you're doing. You call me home. Uyakumusha. You call me home. This kingdom I belong in. Enamari. No manya kwa muri ini. Enamari. Nichipamba na mari ini. Enamari. You call me home. No manya kwa muri ini. Uyakumusha. Enamari. You call me home. Nichipamba na mari ini. Kingdom I belong in. Enamari. No manya kwa muri ini. Enamari. Nichipamba na mari ini.
All right, so I'm not exactly sure what all of those words mean. Maybe perhaps you can fill me in on that. What do all of those words mean?
You know what? We should probably ask Dan that.
Well, Dan's not available right now.
I know, but yeah. Let me not. We've got a lot of maybe Shauna listeners here, and I don't want to.
You still want them to listen to you
No,
afterwards?
I don't want to give my explanation. Sometimes it may have gaps. So we yeah. Anyway, we get teased a lot. So
All right, so so you yeah until Friday. Between now and Friday, what's happening in specific South Africa? Are you just here for what's up?
yeah, so we're meeting with a new music publisher. Just working on some things that are just able get us to do a little bit more than we've been able to in the past. Just in terms of flow, we want to write more songs. We want to do multiple releases a year and really just go after this thing. So that's exciting. Obviously, I have to go have Nando's, so that's on the cards.
Nando's.
Man, listen, Nando's is still my home, bro.
You just had Droewors, so you're getting them ticked off.
I'm telling you, man, this stuff is amazing.
Kudu, Blauwille Beers, Rooibok, you've got it.
And you know what? What's great about this is that it's dry enough, so it's not like wet. You know what I mean? It's super dry. So guys, just so you know, Dwain is incredible at making dry voice. So yeah, so we got that on the cards. I have a few meetings just for impact meetings. I'm always looking at how we can help Better Zimbabwe. So we're looking at a few different ways to do that community-wise. So yeah, that's it.
So I'm
pretty straightforward.
I'm trying to scroll down here just to show you what you're eating for the sake of knowing. Okay, so this was, for interest's sake, this was my boy. So when you are having your rooibok.
Oh, is that what I'm eating now?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So he shot that.
Yeah.
And he's 10.
Yeah.
Man.
So that's the rooibok, and then of course that was my rooibok.
Well, I have your son to thank, and then
that's not all.
So that's a rooibok.
That's a rooibok.
So it's like not
Impala.
I thought you were saying rooibos. That's like so.
No,
this is a rooibos.
Rooibok Impala.
Stick.
That's the Blauwille Beers that you're eating.
So we're eating all of this.
Yeah, and you're also eating this lovely friend of mine, Kudu.
It's beautiful, man. You know, meat here tastes so different than in the US.
Actually tastes like meat here.
It actually tastes like meat. There, I don't know what, but it's actually one of the hardest things that we have to overcome in the persecution of the US is just eating bad meat. It's one of our trials and tribulations, man.
Trials and tribulations.
But yeah, this is amazing.
All right. So for interest's sake, you said you're going to be back in the country in 2 months. Well, in a while from now, and you're going to bring your family with, and you're going to be here for 2 months with the possibility of staying back in South Africa.
Staying, yeah, at least within. Man, that's not really public knowledge, but we'll. Yeah. So that's the plan, right, Dwayne?
Sorry.
That's the plan. We'll leave it at that.
Sorry.
So still putting some things together.
Let's just have Droewors.
Let's just have Boerewors.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But we do know if you get back, we're gonna have a braai.
Braais, but then I think there's more. There's braais, there's dreaming, there's events we want to do in Zim. I think we've got to have you guys come up to Zim.
There's networking.
There's networking, and there's hunting.
Now you're talking.
So, yeah.
I hope I'm invited.
Do you have a lot of hunters who listen? Okay. Because in the US, you've got to be careful.
Why?
There's certain people that just don't like the fact that hunting exists.
See, you woke.
I'm not woke. But there are people there that are woke. That...
No, we're still South African, my friend. We still believe in Dio BS.
So I mean, you are South African, but let me ask you, what excites you about where South Africa's going? I mean, yes, there's problems. I mean, load shedding, but what excites you about where South Africa's going?
I think what is a dangerous thing for human beings in general, not just for South Africans, is we become complacent and we take what we have for granted. We tend on focusing on what is missing in the glass instead of what is in it. And if you travel a lot and you see outside of South Africa, things on TV look beautiful in Australia. Okay, but get to the country and realize that Christianity is non-existing. Go to these countries, and then you do realize, despite all the challenges that we have with our government, please show me a country that does not have conflict in its government. We still have a beautiful country. We have a beautiful country, and I think the thing that excites me a lot is we still have vulnerable people if it comes to the gospel. Someone very well known around the world and dear to our hearts here at Radio Pulpit is Uncle Angus Buchan. And I have the privilege again on Friday morning to be on the morning drive, and we're going to talk again with Uncle Angus. It happens every Friday morning. And Uncle Angus still believes in his heart that hope is not lost for South Africa.
Yep.
He believes that South Africa will be a beacon of light to the world shortly. And I don't know why. I believe it with my whole heart. A lot of people's running out of the country. And look, if God said you must go, I understand that. I do know that I'm not ready to go. I'm not ready because I believe God has planted me here for way bigger things than I can even imagine.
Yeah.
But I've got so much hope for this country.
So you're not ready to go. You're looking at what is in the glass, not what's not in the glass.
Absolutely.
And you're saying there's so much hope for where the country is going. And there's also prophecy, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, prophecy can be weird because we've had weird things happen in prophecy. But if you look at really what's been spoken over South Africa, I mean, how Paul says to Timothy, war according to prophecy. And there's something about warring according to what God has spoken over South Africa. And we're in the right war when we do that. We're in the right battle when we do that.
Yeah, look, Tommy, I often get in conversations with elderly people, and I've got a lot of elderly listeners that's part of my following. And a lot of people seem to say that in my days, things were tough. And then you get 3 generations further, in my days, things get tough. Listen, I think let's just understand one thing quickly. God planted us in this season for a reason.
Correct.
God does not make mistakes. So God wouldn't plant us somewhere just to see us fall to pieces. If God leads us to something, He'll lead us through something. And I do believe that every single human being in life need to understand the reason for their season. They got to understand why God planted them where they are.
Sure.
If you found yourself in South Africa, God's not going to challenge you above what God can do for you. If you are with me.
Yep.
En Afrikaans sê ons, ek gaan jou nooit hoor versoek as dit waarvoor jy geroep het nie. You'll never challenge you higher than what He called you for. He will always be there for you. So I'm of opinion that regardless of where God plants you, you are there to bloom. And God's not going to make you, God, if you plant me, they'll bloom. Why don't you bloom where God planted you now?
Exactly.
And make the difference where you are right now. So I haven't lost my hope in South Africa. I don't know why. I still think South Africa is going to be a beacon of light to the world.
Yeah, and we need more people like you who are speaking that narrative and who are consistently casting that picture. We have hope. There is something to stay for. There is something to fight for. And I think you're doing that well. And I think in our surrender, I mean, I find it tough to have a vision, but then also kind of surrender it too. Because sometimes you can get so like anxious about it. Like we need to see it tomorrow. We need to see tomorrow. And I've been learning in this season just to surrender, do what I know to do, then surrender the rest to the Lord. So that's something I'm challenged with as we think about the hope as well.
Yeah, I just think one should be very careful that we don't create church and serving God like we treat a drive-through. We want to pop in when we need Him. We want to pick it up at the next window, but we don't want to live the lifestyle. I think that's very important. During COVID, when we connected for the first time, we spoke about worship is not a time on your weekly program. It's not an event that you go to. It's a place where you stay.
Mhm.
And I think as Christians, we got to live in our Christianity. Instead of going to church, we got to understand we are the church.
Mhm.
And I've got a huge problem with people coming to church to receive. We don't go to church to receive. We go to church to give. And a lot of times people think that the pastor on the church is the one that needs to spread the gospel. He's only the initiator. You now on Monday need to go back into the world and continue that gospel.
That's right.
And I think that is perhaps where we are uneducated. My people will perish due to lack of knowledge. We are uneducated in what exactly is expected of us. Just last thing, because I'm going to take over the show and it's about you guys this evening. Jesus asked Peter, do you love me? But Peter doesn't show Jesus he loves him with his words. He showed Jesus that he loved him with his actions. Jesus said, stop saying you love me. Show me by go feeding my sheep.
Yeah.
And he didn't give that instruction to only pastors, artists, singers, songwriters. He gave that instruction to anyone that says they love him. And we need to create that culture and that generation of giving, and serving. And that is what you guys are doing.
Yeah. Well, we're all a part of it, and you're doing the same thing. And I know a lot of people listening on this are doing the same thing too, where they're at. And so as long as we keep that the main emphasis, it's really going to be an exciting time, in this part of the world.
Well, I can tell you guys this, I'm not allowed to say too much, and I'll keep it to myself. But wherever Tommy and Danny, wherever Celebrate Africa is going, I promise you, I'll be in the boot of their vehicle, and I'll be with them, and I'll bring you all the latest and greatest, because I do believe that God's got big things planned for you guys. I don't know why. I said that last year when I networked with you guys, but I sense in the spirit that there's things happening through your music. I can't explain it. There's things happening, and I can testify to that. I witnessed that firsthand every week when something like my Kanaka plays in my auditorium. There's a calling on your lives, and I believe that you're going to unite people around Africa, around the world, that still sees color, that still see different cultures. And just between me and you, being a child of the Lord is also a culture. So maybe we should stop saying, I'm from this culture, from this. We are from one culture, and that's the culture of Jesus.
It's kingdom culture. Yeah.
Kingdom culture.
That's right.
That's
no,
beautiful.
yeah. Well, we appreciate you guys, all that you do and your support. I mean, I'll never forget. One of the things you said is if you guys stop doing music, you'll come find us.
I will.
And so that there's a little bit of fear.
Now that you know my size.
Now I know your size and how how much of a rugby player you are. But honestly, man, like you said something that really changed us. You said, some of the things that you are writing and releasing are wall breaker songs.
Absolutely.
And we see unity when we're playing it. So that really spoke a lot to us. And so we want to keep doing that. As long as we continually stay in that place of worship. We don't want to get, for us, worship is most important. And out of that comes what we feel like we're supposed to do. So
what I pick up, we've got 6 minutes left, and then we're going to say goodbye. But what I've picked up about you guys in your music videos, in everything that you guys do, it's not about you. It's about God. And I get the feeling that if you guys had to do a music video and your faces weren't even to show in the music video, you guys would do pretty okay with that.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, it really doesn't matter. My mom was funny. She said this to us growing up, so maybe that's how it comes. I think probably every week for a whole life, she would point us, and my mom's a singer. If you guys know Bonnie Deuschle, she's a great singer, worshiper. She would point to us and say, it's never about you, but it's always up to you. And so we grew up just like, man, so it's up to us. It's up to us to share the gospel. It's up to us to share the light of Christ, and to do it in a way that's not weird and strange, but to do it in a way that really does give him glory. And so, maybe my mom would remind us that all the time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom. You know what's weird? My mom is also listening, and I don't want to say it out loud because she'll say, "See, there's other moms like me as well."
There you go.
But that is.
Thank you, Dwain's mom. Appreciate.
Her name is Daphne.
Thanks, Daphne.
So eventually, in the end, we do have our mothers that keeps us grounded.
I'm telling you, man. Yeah, it's good.
And they call a spade, huh?
Yeah, we need mothers, man.
All right, so just quickly in a nutshell, just tell us quickly, Tommy, how much kids do you have?
I have 4 kids.
Oh my.
4 kids and 0 on the way. So we're done. Yeah, we're done.
You had to add that part, right?
Yep.
And how old are they?
So 11, 10, 7, and 5.
Oh my.
Yeah, so it's a good 2 boys, 2 girls. So it's man, it's it's tough. You meet people that don't have any kids, and you're like, man, your life has got a lot of room to do whatever you want. and you're like, hey, I'm so busy. I'm like, how are you busy? How are you busy? I got 4 lives. Anyway, it's great. I love being a dad, and I can see you do too.
Yeah, my kids are.
Yeah,
They are my life. Absolutely.
But you can see them, and they carry such a presence. Like just them being in the room here, man, it was such a blessing to meet your kids. Seriously, like I want my kids to have friends like your kids.
Just move back and come spend time with my kids. As easy as that. Your wife, Zimbabwean?
My wife is actually American.
Oh no, really?
I know. Why do you have to say oh no? But I hear you.
No, I don't mean it like that. I just mean okay.
Yeah. So no, but you know what? She's lived with me in Zimbabwe 10 years. So she's like, she knows Zimbabwe. She's lived there. She's grown there in her adult life. And so, yeah, but she's from America essentially. But she got a Zim ID. So I've got to, graft it in.
So you're probably going to have a laugh now. I think I qualify for a Zim ID with my dad being born there.
You might.
I've never been to Zim.
What?
Never.
Oh, no.
I've never been to a neighboring country of South Africa except Mozambique.
Except Mozambique. And that was a holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we need to get you exposed.
It's fine.
You've got a call to Africa, sir. So we need to get you to come up to Zim, and we'll show you the way that we braai. It's just a little bit different.
Explain.
It's a bit noisier.
Why?
There's just a lot more jokes, huh? So I know South Africans, you guys. Let me tell you, in Zim, there are so many jokes around the braai table. It's one thing that I do miss about Zim all the time is around the braai, connection explodes with jokes and laughter. But maybe I need to have more South African braais to see.
You haven't been to my braai.
I need to come to yours.
I don't go buy a bag of wood. Just to give you an idea.
What does that mean?
Wood, when we braai, wood.
Yeah.
I don't buy a bag at a time.
Okay.
I buy 200 bags at a time. They bring it and they drop it off with a forklift. Because when I braai, my fire don't stop the moment the meat is ready. The fire goes on and on and on into the early hours of the morning. That's where we finish it.
So you guys just hang the whole night?
Yeah, whole night, Poppy.
That's it, man.
Somewhere in the swimming pool as well.
I'm looking forward to that.
So before we say goodbye, brother, we've got 2 minutes left. I'm going to leave the mic over to you for 2 minutes. And I want you to just go at whatever God puts on your heart right now. If you want to pray for the nation, you can do that. And then when he's done, I'm not even going to outro this. I'm going to greet you in the wonderful name of our Lord Jesus Christ. And I'm going to play out with Master KG with Jerusalem. But the next minute and 30 seconds is yours.
So I'll just go with what's on my heart. I think if you're listening, to this tonight and you're tuning in, whether it's live or not, there is such an invitation in this season to know Jesus in a way where he's expressed in your life. So the giftings and the things that God's placed in your hands, even the small things, right? Like you may be listening tonight going, man, I only have this, right? I can hear people saying, this is all I've got. I've got a small room to live in. I've got, my studies, and this is it. I've got, 3 friends, and they're not even very good friends, Tom, but I got these 3 friends and they're kind of lousy friends. I don't know what you have, but it may not seem like much. And I really sense God saying that there is such a generation in Africa with a whole generation that has 2 fish and 5 loaves, whole generation that has seemingly these small amounts. And I see Jesus looking at this whole generation, you tonight, you listening, going, all I have in front of you, if you surrender those things to me, is a huge story and an adventure where you get to see thousands and thousands of people touched. And so I just want to encourage you today. You may have something really small and who's standing in front of you, right? Tonight, you may go to bed, you may wake up in the morning and you just say, Jesus, I want to know you in a way that I've never known you before. Because the small things that you have were meant to express his glory. The very small, lousy friends you have, if that's all you have, pouring into them will give him glory. The small little art project that you have, the song that you have is meant to give him glory. And when we say to Jesus, Jesus, this, what you've shown me seems too big. The continent seems too big. The people that I'm dreaming about seem too big. My dreams seem too big. All he's asking is just a small partnership. Walk with me. Walk with me. Give these small things to me, and I'll blow your mind at what he can do. So I just want to encourage you guys listening. You have very small bits. That doesn't matter, right? Look up at the harvest. God's got such incredible plans for you. And as you walk with him, he's going to blow your mind. You are so gifted. You're called to create and express the glory of God. And so I just want to release that over you tonight listening.